What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C4 here, and today, kind of in continuation with the positional draft rankings that you've seen on the channel, I figured I've already released, I think, two or three of Philadelphia Eagle only mock drafts today. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I don't know if I'm only going to make this an in-depth one or a quick one. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see once we get rolling. It's going to be my first official NFL mock draft. Seems like a lot of the experts and guys around the web are starting to do their mock drafts, and even though it is pretty pointless to do one before the combine because so many things can change, and even like free agency, stuff like that could drastically change the outlook of a team's draft. You know, we'll get our first one out there. We'll get our skeleton formed. I'll see what you guys think, especially because, like I said, I tried my best. I think I tried to go after position of needs and get players that most fan bases would enjoy. But if you're like upright disgruntled with a pick that I made, maybe I could try to make the best, most fan-friendly mock for my second one. So yeah, we're doing all 32 picks. The two things that I did, I gave, right now it's undecided if the Philadelphia Eagles are picking 14 or 15. It's between them and the Colts. Because we're an Eagles fan here, we made the Eagles get 14. And as I'm recording this, you guys probably will see this as well before the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's undecided, so I just went with the dream scenario for the Super Bowl. So the Falcons win and the Patriots lose. The Patriots pick at 31, Falcons pick at 32. So without further ado, with the first overall pick of the 2017 NFL Draft on the clock is the Cleveland Browns, and I have them taking Myles Garrett from Texas A&M. It's been reported that the Cleveland Browns will be switching to a 4-3 front, and with the beast that is Emmanuel Ogbah from our Cleveland Brown rebuild, who actually is quite a talented pass rusher from Oklahoma State, I think Myles Garrett is probably the safest pick out of any player in this year's draft class. I think he's the undisputed #1 pick in terms of talent, and I think he makes the most sense for Cleveland, a team that really, there's no wrong pick for the Cleveland Browns, I don't think. I think reaching for a quarterback up here might be bad for the franchise, and I think maybe they're content with what they have for Cody Kessler. Maybe they see something better next year, which is what I think. If you're a really smart team, the Browns are going to win next year. They're not going to be probably even competitive next year. So get framework so that when a quarterback does come to you, you can actually get one instead of reaching and skipping out on a bunch of great defensive prospects, which is what this draft, especially the front end, is loaded with. So I think Myles Garrett makes the most sense for me. Just help them with that defensive front. He's going to be a beast, him and Ogbah. Then you got Shelton, who's becoming an improving playmaker. Now, I don't know what Shelton's going to look like if they transition to a 4-3, but he's a fucking D-tackle, man. He's going to be a run stuffer all day long, and Myles Garrett has to be the pick for the Cleveland Browns. Going to number 2, the San Francisco 49ers under new head coach. We can assume will be Kyle Shanahan. We all know Kyle Shanahan wants a pocket passing quarterback. We're going Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina. I think any quarterback in this year's draft class is going to be considered a reach, but with whatever fucking invisibly made up imaginary unicorn high standards that the San Francisco 49ers front office has for their head coach, I assume they expect their head coach, because they've had what, 3 in 3 years, to get with this piece of shit roster like a 12-4 record and a fucking first round bye or something like that. So I think with Kyle Shanahan, if he took that job, I think he understands the expectations and the pressures, and I think when, all those meetings that they had with the coaches and stuff like that, I think the reason why so many coaches have turned it down is I guarantee San Francisco's like, yeah, we'll bring you in, but you have to draft a quarterback. We need a quarterback this year. I think that'll be Mitch Trubisky. I think he is the best of a underwhelming draft class. I think a lot of the quarterbacks, I'm a fan. Most importantly, I love Deshaun Watson, but I don't see a day one starter. And if you did have to pick a day one starter, gun to my head, it'd be Mitch Trubisky, because he came from that pro offense and he's pretty accurate. So his mechanics, he has the most refined mechanics in the class. So I think the 49ers will be going after Mitch Trubisky here with the second overall pick. Getting a quarterback there, but I mean, what does he have to work with? There's no wide receivers unless they have a very busy free agency period. And, the 49ers are in risk of becoming that organization that everyone's going to go, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Even if the money's right, just seeing the front office and all that stuff, it is pretty hectic and maybe one of the worst front offices in the NFL right now. And it could deter a lot of free agents, even though they might have the money to going there. But I think Trubisky's going to go to San Francisco, and he's going to need a lot of help because I don't think Carlos Hyde can do it alone. Going to number 3, the Chicago Bears. They're going with they're going with Jonathan Allen, defensive lineman from Alabama. A lot of people now, it seems like they're nitpicking and they're trying to say Allen's not as good as he is. Allen's a beast. I think Allen and Myles Garrett would be number 1 and number 2 in terms of my just overall superstar talent. And they're both on the defense side of the ball. Bears, when in doubt, go defense. Rebuild that fantastic defense that your city is just drooling for. They want it back again. They want to be a defensive team. There's no quarterback to fucking reach for. I know you want to get rid of Jay Cutler, you want to move on from him, but doesn't he have a bunch of dead money if you keep him? Like, there's no quarterback right here. I don't think maybe you can get maybe a Mahomes or something like that in the second round, but there's no quarterback. And I do give credit where credit is due. The Bears front office, usually they're pretty smart about things like this, and I don't think they're dumb enough to overreach for a quarterback. They'll take the best available player, and that's going to be John Allen, and start building back that fucking defense. You got Jordan Howard on offense. You found a stud. Maybe you bring back Alshon Jeffrey, but then again, if you don't get a quarterback, he's going to be probably bouncing. Doesn't like Jay Cutler or Matt Barkley. But I'm thinking maybe the Bears would be the team that can get a quarterback in free agency, be it Tyrod Taylor, Tony Romo, something like that. So I think they make their play in free agency for a quarterback, and they go with Jonathan Allen and get an absolute stud here on the defensive line. Go number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was the first tough one. I was pretty easy going Allen, Trubisky, Garrett for the first 3. The Jags, they have a lot of areas they could go. The popular pick right now is Solomon Thomas, but I don't see that because their defensive ends are solid. Yannick Ngakoue and Dante Fowler. I mean, Fowler's kind of had a whole season wrote off there, but I think those are 2 young defensive ends that they can build and grow upon. I don't see Solomon Thomas as a 4-3 defensive tackle, so that pick makes no sense to me. I think what they're going to do is they're going to go with safety. They're going to address the back end, and I think they're going to look to get an upgrade over Jonathan Cyprian, who I think is a free agent. They're going to go Malik, it's probably Malik because everyone shits on the way I say Malik Hooker from Ohio State. I think the issue with Malik Hooker is that he doesn't tackle very well. But when you're an absolute fucking ball hawk, you can get the tackling mechanics down packed. I think having Hooker and Jalen Ramsey in that secondary alone is going to be very, very good. It's also Sean Gibson. I think that's a little bit risky because I don't think if you have Hooker and Gibson as your 2 safeties, you don't have a whole lot of tackling power. But I do think Cyprian will probably go to free agency, so you're going to need to fill that void there at safety. You get the new coach. I think the offense is fine. Offensive line could get improved. I don't know if they're going to sink a first-round pick into a running back, considering this draft class is very, very rich of running backs. And I think that they can probably get another one in the second round if they don't think Chris Ivory or TJ Yeldon's the answer. But they invested a high pick in Yeldon, and they put a big chunk of money in Chris Ivory in free agency. So I think for me, it's either going to be safety or offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And like I said, just get the best player available. And there's no offensive lineman really worth getting in the top 5 picks. So then you get Hooker, who is probably some of the best vision I've seen from a safety since ever. I don't think I've seen a safety with this kind of, unless you classify Jalen Ramsey as a safety, which, I mean, he's a hybrid. He can do it all. So I think Hooker is a great pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he is maybe the pick that helps solidify that defense, and they'll be ready to go. Hopefully they can get things clicking on offense with, who's their coach there? They got the guy that was at Buffalo. I can't remember his name. Offensive line guy. What's his name? Whatever. Doesn't matter. He's probably not a good hire. Seems like a lot of Jags fans are pissed off about that because he was there last year with the offense, and the offense sucks. And now it just seems like it's going to be a circle going round and round again. But Hooker is the pick for the Jaguars. Going to number 5, the Tennessee Titans. They're going to be upset because they wanted Malik Hooker. But they're going with Jamal Adams, the safety from LSU. Maybe the best well-rounded safety. He's definitely not as big of a ball hawk as Hooker, but I think for his coverage skills, which are solid, and he's a beast tackler, great, rah-rah, big motherfucker guy. I think he will be the pick at safety, just because I think they're starting to see they have Kevin Byard, who's looking all right, but then you also have who you got strong safety, Norris Searcy. I mean, he's getting up there in age. His performance doesn't seem like it's living up to the contract that he signed. He got some big money coming over from Buffalo. I think they go best player available for me. That's going to be Jamal Adams. Don't know exactly. Like I said, that's a little tough. Now I'm thinking about it. That I think they like Kevin Byard, and they do have Norris Searcy on the books. But I mean, guy like Jamal Adams is a very, very well-rounded. Like, there's no really weakness in his game. I guess you could say coverage if you're going at it like that. But I think overall, Jamal Adams to the Titans makes a lot of sense. Just because he can start. He's a day 1 start. He's an upgrade over either one of those guys. And I don't think Kevin Byard is locked in. I probably mispronounced his name like 10, 15 times. I don't think he's locked in. And you definitely get a big upgrade there. And now you just have great depth for the Titans, who have 2 first-round picks. And I think that makes the most sense there because their offensive line is set. Running back set. They could go wide receiver, but there's no wide receiver getting at top 5. I could definitely see them maybe trading down from this number 5 pick the more I think about it. Tight end is a need, but they can address that later. Defensive line, maybe defensive line, but there's not a whole lot of people there. Maybe they could get a Solomon Thomas here. They think he could play defensive end in a 3-4. Outside linebacker, I mean, middle linebacker seem all right. So, I mean, it's really a crapshoot of where they go. Corner, they could probably go corner if they really want to. That's another potential option. Which may change, but like I said, Jamal Adams, let me know, Titan fans, what do you think? This is definitely a pick that I could certainly change around Because, you know, just for me saying it, I wrote it down, look fine. Now and I'm talking about it, I can definitely see a couple potential options. But I think most Titans fans will be satisfied with Jamal Adams because you get a beast back there in the secondary. Going number 6, the New York Jets. They're going to DeShone Kizer from Notre Dame. I think they're going to get a quarterback. They're going to reach for Kizer. I think they're going to be a little bit disappointed because I think it'll be a similar situation to what they got with Geno Smith, where it's a guy that's probably, they're going to expect him, probably, to go into the starting role because Ryan Fitzpatrick's not coming back. They're going to have Geno Smith. Maybe they roll with him a little bit until Kizer's ready. But I think you kind of have to go. You kind of have to go fucking quarterback here. I mean, corner could be an option. Offensive, like, there's a lot of spots the Jets could go. But being this is their option, I think they may fall in love with one of the quarterbacks, be it Kizer. I don't think Trubisky would slip. But Kizer or Deshaun Watson, one of those two, I think they'd make a play for them. Especially if they can't land, like if Tyrod Taylor, which so many people think he'll hit free agency. If they can't land a Tyrod Taylor, who I actually think would be a nice fit there in New York, I think they're going quarterback, and Kizer is the pick for me. Going number 7, the San Diego Chargers. This is a little bit controversial. I didn't see anyone mock him to them, but I think this is what they go. A lot of people like safeties. They definitely need a safety, but with Hooker and Jamal Adams off the board, obviously with Jamal Adams' pick being a little bit open to change, I think they'd take Jamal Adams if he was still there. But for me, I'm going Cam Robinson. The best tackle prospect, I think. In terms of upside, I think the tackle from Wisconsin, Ryan Ramczyk, is the most ready now. But in terms of a guy that can get it done, who could probably start day one and then develop into something special, I think that is Cam Robinson. He does have the off-the-field issues, but I still think protecting Phillip Rivers is the #1 option, and Cam Robinson would come in day one and start at right tackle. He's better than Joe Barksdale. He may even come at left tackle. I don't know how King Downlots would do for you guys, but I think, you know, still protecting Phillip Rivers is object #1. Keep him healthy. They've had struggled staying healthy everywhere else across the board. Phillip Rivers has been able to stay consistently healthy, but how long will that happen? They continue to have a pretty much offensive line held together with duct tape. Get a guy. Get the best, probably across the board, tackle prospect, I think, even though I like Ramczyk, and get him on that offensive line. I mean, where else could they really go? If they're a team that they stayed healthy in all their positions, which, I mean, not every team can stay healthy, and most teams don't stay healthy, and it's pretty much, if you're a fan of any other team, not the Chargers, you can come in and admit that, did I say San Diego Chargers, too, when I started this out? Maybe the LA Chargers. The Chargers do get hurt more often than any other team. Maybe they should look at their training staff. But when healthy, quarterback's fine, running back's fine, wide receiver is fine, tight end is fine. Defensive line, looking great. You got Joey Bosa, Lugette. Maybe looking at a nose tackle, but there's no nose tackle to take up here at 7. Linebackers are fine. Perriman's good. Jatavis Brown is great. Melvin Ingram, you're fine. Corners are fine. Verrett is good. Casey Hayward had like the most picks last year. So then you have safety and offensive line. And because of how the draft went, there's no safeties. I think you go with the best offensive line prospect, and that is Cam Robinson. Moving on to number 8, the Carolina Panthers. This one here is pretty much consensus across the board. It's going to be Leonard Fournette, the running back from LSU. I think they're going to get rid of Jonathan Stewart. He's like fucking like top 5 highest paid running back in terms of cap hit coming this next season. That ain't going to stay. They're a pretty frugal front office from what I can tell. And they need more star power there on the offense. I think Fournette is exactly the kind of pairing that you want to get with Cam Newton. And Fournette will instantly be like a fucking second, third round draft pick in fantasy football for the upcoming season because he's that explosive of a playmaker. The Panthers offense doesn't really require their main running back to have good hands, which, like I said when I was doing my running back rankings, guys like Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, those guys are going to be more valuable because I truly believe that is the change in the guard where I made the similarity when Richard Sherman got on. Richard Sherman was the best corner in the NFL. Every draft, teams would reach for the guys that were 6'3", 6'4" at cornerback, regardless of how they could play, because they just want to strike luck at getting that long-ranging corner that could be the next Richard Sherman. I think you're seeing that kind of change in the perception of what makes a good corner. And running backs, I think you're going to see people that want the next Le'Veon Bell, the next David Johnson. They want the guys that can catch and run at the same time. But a team like the Carolina Panthers, where they have Fozzie Whitaker or something like that, or they already have an established third down pass catching back, they're fine having a guy that just runs between the tackles, can catch a little bit, but his job is to run the fucking ball, and that is Leonard Fournette to a T. It's a scheme fit, it's a team fit, and this pick is, I think I can almost put money. That's probably the number 1. I'd bet the house that the Panthers will get Fournette if he's there. Go number 9, we're going with the Cincinnati Bengals, and we're going with who we took in the Cincinnati Bengals realistic rebuild, and that's going to be Reuben Foster, the linebacker from Alabama. Very, very, I think he's, if I was making top 5 overall prospects, I think it'd be Myles Garrett. I think I'd go Jonathan Allen. I'd go Jamal Adams. I'd go Reuben Foster, and then I'd have a toss-up between Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette for my top 5. But Reuben Foster, he's technically sound. Perfect fit there for the Bengals who are looking to get a little bit younger. At linebacker, you got Carlos Dansby, who I don't know if he's going to be back next year. You got, who's the middle linebacker they got there? Vincent Reyes getting up there in age. Right now, the only real consistent linebacker that they have is Vontaze Burfict. And you say consistent, that's when he's on the field. He has all the off-field suspensions. I think this is the year the Bengals address a playmaker at the linebacker spot. And they get maybe one of the best linebacker prospects in the last 5 years in Reuben Foster. I mean, there's teams that could get him. I think the Titans potentially could go after Reuben Foster, even though they have Avery Williamson and Leslie Woodyard. I think maybe, I don't really know who else could get him. The Jags, potentially. If they fall in love with Reuben Foster, they can look to get younger than Paul Posluszny, but then kind of be overkill there with Telvin Smith, and you got Miles Jack, but then he'd be in the middle spot. But for me, I think the Bengals will get all over Reuben Foster. He's going to be an excellent addition to their linebacking core. They could look at wide receiver again. They did invest fairly high in wide receiver last year in Tyler Boyd, but still didn't find any legit wide receiver 2 outside of A.J. Green last year. I mean, LaFell had his moments, Boyd had his moment, you had Cody Core, but I still think they could invest at a wide receiver at this stage, but I do think that the best spot for them to go would be linebacker and getting younger and getting a guy like Reuben Foster. Moving on to number 10, we're the Buffalo Bills. This one here could go all over the fucking place because it's kind of based on the fact that do they have Tyrod Taylor or not. It's looking like they're not going to have Tyrod Taylor, and with not having Tyrod Taylor, quarterback becomes in need, but I don't think they go after quarterback right away. I don't know if they're going to try. I don't know. I have no idea what the Bills are going to do. They very well could get Deshaun Watson at this stage. But for me, as it stands, day one, I'm going with a popular pick across a lot of mock drafts, and it's Mike Williams, the wide receiver from Clemson, pairing up with his former alumni in Sammy Watkins. I think you just go best player available here, and they need to address the offense. Their offense needs to get better, and I don't really know why. A lot of people are. It makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense because they don't have a quarterback. You're kind of putting the carriage before the horse here. Let's get a bunch of weapons and then figure out the quarterback later. That's not usually the way things work. I don't think they're really high on Cardale Jones or E.J. Manuel to be the starter. So, why? If you get Mike Williams, great pick. Great value, another great wide receiver. I don't know what they're doing with Robert Woods in free agency. They may re-sign him. They may let him go. If they do lose Robert Woods, this pick makes even more sense. If they keep Robert Woods, there you go. That is 3 really good young wide receivers that you can develop upon and may develop into one of the top wide receiving core in the league. What do we do for quarterback? What the fuck? You have good wide receiver, you have good running backs. Shady was great last year. Mike Gillespie is a great RB2. You got Charles Clay at tight end. Offensive lines, getting up there in age a little bit, but still very solid. What do you do with quarterback? So, could see them just surprising everyone and drafting a quarterback right here. Obviously, like I said, still a lot of moving parts as we don't know what's going on with Tyrod Taylor. But like I said, this is mock draft number 1. This is pretty much going to be the most useless, but just to kind of get a feeler where you guys think with my picks and get you guys, kind of in this mindset of where your boy C4 is leaning right now. Quarterback for the Bills, if they get rid of Tyrod Taylor, could happen at 10, but I think Mike Williams would be the best value pick for them. Going to number 11 is going to be the New Orleans Saints, and I'm going with Solomon Thomas, the defensive end from the University of Stanford. He kind of blew up this year. I think he's going to have an insane combine, and the number one thing I think the Saints need to get after is a pass rusher. The pass rush is very big. They could look at Derek Barnett here. I think they could maybe look at corner. Defense is still what you have to do. Their offense is still on point. Their offensive line, you maybe could get something there. Maybe a Ryan Ramczyk at tackle, but I think they're all right at tackle right now. You got Terron Armstead, who I think is one of the most underrated tackles in the NFL. And the rest of the offensive line did all right last year. I mean, Drew Brees wasn't on his backside a whole lot. So that offense was on point. It's still, the defense is the persistent issue. You can get Delvin Breaux. You got Kenny Vaccaro. You got, who else do they have that's solid? I don't know. I don't really think anyone in their linebackers is too fine. Maybe if Reuben Foster's there, I could see them maybe addressing at their linebacker spot. Defensive line, you got Cameron Jordan. You got Sheldon Rankins, who got hurt, which is unfortunate, but when he comes back healthy, I think he's a beast. Nick Fairley had a good year. So then put someone on the opposing side. I don't really know what they're doing with Haloi Kikaha, but I think edge rusher, just in terms of value, best player available and addressing a need at the same time, I think Solomon Thomas will be the best player on their board. They could look at linebacker. Like I said, this is definitely open to discussion because literally anywhere on the defensive side of the ball, I could see the Saints going. But for my money, I think Solomon Thomas, especially after he crushes the combine, which a lot of people are expecting to put up some pretty scary looking numbers, will be a great pick for the Saints, just getting the best defensive player that could be a game changer to help them out and maybe get Drew Brees into the playoffs again at some point in his career. Going to number 12 is the second pick for the Cleveland Browns, and I still think they go defense. I don't think they're going to panic on a quarterback. I think, Hugh Jackson's going to take the Aaron Rodgers relax approach when it comes to a quarterback. I personally think the Cleveland Browns are going to take a mid-round quarterback, and then next year will be the year they go after the quarterback. I think next year's quarterback class is a lot better, a lot more refined than this year's, and I think they'll be fine. They'll just go, fuck it, let's have a sick defense. Let's be that team that's just like, man, once they get a quarterback, they're going to be a playoff team, and then they'll get that next year, I think, or within the next year or two. If they draft one next year, obviously it's not going to be a one-year process. They'll probably have to wait a year or two, and then they'll get there. But I think they're going to go with Marshawn Lattimore, the corner from Ohio State. They get, within the state of Ohio, and they get the best corner they feel that is available. I think, personally, I still think that Jalen Tabor is the best corner in the draft, but I don't think a lot of teams agree with me, and it seems like Lattimore is the guy, the number one guy right now that a lot of teams want to go after and get. I don't think his body of work, for me personally, makes me comfortable to draft him that high. But I mean, I think Ohio State. I think you would think that the Cleveland Browns would have lots and plenty of scouting and a very clear conscience on who they are going to draft. If they get anyone from Ohio State, and I think Lattimore makes the most sense there. Pair him back there with Joe Hayden. They have Jamar Taylor, I believe, is set to be a free agent. They might want to bring him back. He had a solid career, or bounce back year after he was kind of meh in Miami. So then they can bring him back. And look, now that secondary's looking good. They're looking pretty fucking good. With that, you got safeties. They still need some safety help, I think. But this corner's going to be set-ish. On paper, it'll be set. Linebackers are looking good. Defensive front is looking very, very improved now that you have Myles Garrett. And now, you're just like, all right, hopefully they re-sign Tyrod Taylor. Hopefully you got... they still kept some of their offensive pieces in charge. You got Isaiah Crowell, who's a very solid-looking running back. Offensive line has always been solid. And there you go. You're just one more piece away. They're just adding pieces of guys that can start because they've still been looking to find that corner. I mean, Justin Gilbert was a bust. That's pretty much the one guy I can remember. He was a first-round bust. You can't. Anytime you swing and a miss on a first-round prospect, it sucks, and you kind of have to amend that within the coming drafts. And I think that's where they go and get Marshawn Lattimore here. And they still avoided quarterback. Go number 13, which is the Arizona Cardinals. I think they go with corner as well, and they get Marlon Humphrey, the corner from Alabama. I think, personally, I've already kind of said my opinion on Marlon Humphrey, but I still think a lot of people are very high on him. They like his speed, they like his intangibles, like the upside, especially pairing that guy with a guy like Patrick Peterson. Jesus Christ, and you have Honey Badger back there, Tony Jefferson. Ooh, I think that's what they go. I think they go to rebuild that. Wide receiver's a pick. They could potentially look at wide receiver, but I do think that Larry Fitzgerald will come back. They got John Brown. You got J.J. Nelson, who is emerging. I think wide receiver is not a bit as big of a need yet. But then again, they can plan for the future. Plan for, obviously Michael Floyd may have been the guy. Like, well, when Larry goes, we'll have Michael Floyd. Obviously, that's not an option anymore. So I totally can see them going after wide receiver, maybe offensive line, and in the interior of that. But I think for my money, they'll go corner. They'll get that partnership for Pat Pete. I think that will be Marlon Humphrey. I think they find him to be the best complement, if you will. Definitely fits the same kind of size and mold and play type as Patrick Peterson and Marlon Humphrey, and get him from the Alabama program. He's pretty much going to be as pro ready as any corner in this prospect coming from Alabama. So I think that is a nice fit for that. Going number 14, like I said, I put the Eagles here at 14 because it's going to be still a coin toss at the combine, I believe, to who picks where. So the Philadelphia Eagles, I went wide receiver, and I got Corey Davis from Western Michigan. A lot of people think it's between him and Mike Williams. A lot of people have him ahead of Mike Williams, but it does seem like Mike Williams, as it stands right now, probably is the number one wide receiver. I think Corey Davis is an excellent fit for the Philadelphia Eagles, addressing a need, and it's pretty much consensus that the Philadelphia Eagles need a wide receiver, they need a corner, and they need a running back. And why did I go wide receiver when we still had Jalen Tabor, who's my favorite corner? We still have Dalvin Cook, who's a lot of people's favorite wide receiver. Why? Because look at the strength of this year's draft class. If you had to look at the two strengths of this year's draft class, it's running back and running back and corner. I think the running backs and corners that you can get in the second and third round are much, much better than the wide receivers you can get in the second and third round. In the second and third round, there's about 3 or 4. We'll call it day 2. In day 2, there's about 3 or 4 running backs and corners that I would think would be instant starters on the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and scheme fits, and would play into exactly what we need. Running back, you got Joe Mixon, you got Alvin Kamara. You got Joe McNichols. Those right there are 3 running backs. Even Christian McCaffrey might slip. Those are 4 running backs potentially that would fill the need of the Philadelphia Eagles. May not be as ready as Dalvin Cook is, but those are 3 running backs that would probably be starters for the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking at the secondary, Garyon Conley, Tre'Davious White, Cam Sutton. That's all I can think of. There's probably even more. off the top of my head that I can't. Desmond King, even though a lot of people think he might be a safety now. But those are just those. Okay, those are 4. I could probably come with 5 or 6 if I had a list in front of me. Corners, that would be better and improvements of what we have right now on the Philadelphia Eagles. But then when you look at wide receiver, D.D. Westbrook might be there. Chad Hansen from Cal might be a fit. Cooper Kupp, maybe. But, I mean, outside of that, really, D.D. Westbrook's been the guy. There's one. That's one. So I think you go with the best player that you need, the BPA, at the position that you need in that order. So you're not just drafting for position need. You're getting best player available at the position you need that has the least amount of depth of where you pick in the range of the draft. And for me, that's wide receiver. You're not going to get a Corey Davis, a guy that's as good as Corey Davis, a guy with as much upside as Corey Davis, a guy with the skill set of Corey Davis, a guy that's going to have as big of impact on the offense as Corey Davis if we wait later rounds to get a wide receiver. So I think for my money, Corey Davis is who we get at 14, regardless of who we draft in the next coming rounds, or even get in free agency. But like I said, this could change. It's NFL mock number 1, but as it stands right now, Corey Davis is my guy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Go number 15, the Indianapolis Colts. They go Dalvin Cook. I honestly think the Colts need a running back. Frank Gore's getting up there in age, and then they kind of try to use Turbid and guys like that. I think they're going to be absolutely salivating at the mouth that they can get Dalvin Cook. A little bit disappointing. I think Colts fans may just get us a fucking offensive line. Get Andrew Luck some help. But I think a guy like Dalvin Cook that can catch the ball, that can run the ball, can carry the ball, find much more balance to that offense will help Andrew Luck a lot more than maybe a difference in maybe right tackle or something like that. But I think Dalvin Cook is a phenomenal pick for the Colts. Definitely a scheme fit, and I think they'll take Dalvin. That's another thing for the Eagles fans. If Eagles somehow don't win the coin toss, which I mean it's 50-50, and they pick at 15 and the Colts still pick at 14, I think the Colts still will take Dalvin Cook. So he'll be off the board even for the opportunity to pick him. And then it becomes that much more clear that we have to go with Corey Davis as our pick. But as it stands in my mock draft, the Colts are picking at 15, and they go after Dalvin Cook. Go number 16, which is the Baltimore Ravens. They go after Jalen Tabor. That's a perfect fit. Ravens need a corner, I think. I think outside of Jimmy Smith, they need another guy that can start on the outside because you have Tavon Austin who can be a nickel. And again, much like where I've had the Bears taking Jonathan Allen, Ravens are a team. Defense has slipped a little bit. I mean, last year they were phenomenal against the run, but still in the back end they had their issues. Why not get, in my opinion, the best corner available, who has some, some off-the-field concerns, which is an absolute Baltimore Raven pick. They get those guys that are super talented that have some off-field issues because they can turn it around. Reggie McKenzie is it Reggie McKenzie? No, it's Ozzie Newsome is phenomenal at finding those guys. The guys that slip through the cracks, the steals, the guys that they know once they get into their organization and adopt the Baltimore Raven culture, they will turn their shit around. And that's Jalen Tabor. For me, I don't think he's that big of an issue personally, but I think they're getting phenomenal. They're probably getting another steal to draft here at 16 in Jalen Tabor. Like last year, they got Ronnie Stanley, absolute steal. This year, Jalen Tabor, absolute steal. So I feel real confident on that pick right there. They could look maybe at wide receiver, but I mean, like I said, with Corey Davis and Mike Williams gone, I think you go best player available, and that'll be Jalen Tabor. Number 17 is the Washington Redskins. Here's a controversial pick. This is one that I'm not, even personally. I mean, I don't want people to be like, oh, yeah, he's an Eagle fan, so he's got to purposely make the Redskins take a shitty pick. I'm going Jabril Peppers. I just think that, there's been reports that there's still a few teams that are super high on Jabril Peppers, and a team like Washington, we're already seeing them get a Su'a Cravens, who's similar type, a guy he plays A, he plays a little bit of B. I think that's what you get with Jabril Peppers. I think they view him as a safety. Safety is a big-time need for the Washington Redskins right now, especially with, Jesus, what's going to happen with Hall? What's going to happen with Hall? Is he going to play? Is he never going to play again? Is he going to be the same player if he comes back from his injury? I think safety is a big need. They see Jabril Peppers, they'll be like, hey, we definitely have the right place for him. You can have him play a little bit of linebacker, drop back into safety. I think he's going to be a scheme fit for their defense. I think he's a guy that, well, there's a lot of question marks around him right now after a very strong combine because he's going to test like a fucking maniac. I think he'll be definitely around his top 20 pick. Again, I think a team that has taken a gamble on players like him before in his type, like Su'a Cravens, it could fit in Washington. But this is another pick that I'm definitely open. It's a very fluid pick. The Redskins are a team that I'm not 100% sure with confident what player they're going to get or what need they're going to address. So that can move. But that's number 17. Number 18 is the Tennessee Titans' second pick. And I've seen, it's pretty much consensus that they're going tight end, but they don't have the tight end that I think they're going to get. Let them have David Njoku, who I think will be a first-round pick, which you'll see later on. But I think the Titans at 18 are going to go O.J. Howard from Alabama. I think Alabama, this pick makes a whole lot of sense because they need a tight end to go with Delaney Walker. They're a two tight end set team. They play kind of like the New England Patriots in like that regard, and it's been working. But I think now when you get a beast like O.J. Howard, who's worked on his pass blocking, he's worked on his run blocking, and he's 6'6", like 270 or 260, something he's built like a dream He's built like if you can mock up and create a player at the tight end position, it would be the height, weight, speed of an O.J. Howard. Pair him with the Delanie Walker, so that not only for probably what Delanie Walker, we'll give Delanie Walker like 2 more seasons of playing at a Delanie Walker's elite tight end. So you get that, and then when it's time for him to retire, O.J. Howard is now developed. He's now acclimated to the pro level, and there you go. Nice transition. Because I think with a guy like Marcus Mariota, you're going to need that kind of playmaking tight end. So that pick makes a whole lot of sense for me. Moving to number 19, sorry, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going Derek Barnett, the defensive end from Tennessee. Tremendous value. One of the best edge rushers in this year's draft class. In terms of overall talent, probably closer to top 10 in terms of talent. Fits the exact need for the Bucs. They need to get better at getting after the quarterback, because right now, I mean, Jesus Christ, who do they have? Who gets after the quarterback? And if they can get Noah Spence to develop, they're going to have Noah Spence. You'll have Jared McCoy, who's nearing the end of his career, but he'll still be on that line. And then you'll have Derek Barnett on the opposing side. That is very, very good defensive line to help out. Where the offense, I think they still could probably go and get a wide receiver to help Mike Williams and Adam Humphries and Jameis Winston, more importantly. But I think they're going to go for an edge rusher. And Derek Barnett, tremendous value. I don't think you'll find too many Bucs fans upset with that. Go to number 20 is the Tampa... who we got here? 20. The Denver Broncos. I think they're going Ryan Ramczyk, the tackle from Wisconsin. I think they have to go offensive line. The offensive line was a big part of why they sucked this year. It wasn't necessarily Trevor Siemian. I think they'll probably roll with Paxton Lynch after a full training camp as their quarterback. Running backs are fine. C.J. Anderson. You got the dude from Utah, Devontae Booker. I think wide receivers are fine. Tight end, maybe they go tight end. I don't know. But I think they go tackle. They got to get a tackle in there, so they're going to go best tackle available. We Ryan Ramczyk, because their offensive line is what struggled last year. You know, never a clean pocket for Trevor Siemian. They could not establish a run because their offensive line constantly got 0 push. So I think with Ryan Ramczyk, he's probably regarded as one of the top run-blocking offensive linemen in this year's draft class. There you go. Absolute money. I think he'll probably will start as a right tackle and has definitely the upside to eventually move to a left tackle. Go number 21, which is the Detroit Lions. I have them going with the best secondary guy available, and that's Sidney Jones from Washington to pair back there with Darius Slay. I think they need to work a little bit on the back end there. Safety could be potentially an option. They still got Glover fucking Quinn back there. Where else could they go? I mean, linebacker, they're probably all right. I mean, DeAndre Levy and Whitehead are solid. Middle linebacker. Who's their middle linebacker? Can't even think off the top of my head who their middle linebacker is. That could be a potential option. Defensive line, maybe. I think offensive line, I think they're content. I think they're content on the offensive side of the ball. Their offense is what won them a bunch of games. I think it was the defense that was lacking a little bit. Maybe running back, but I think when you have, Theo Riddick and you got Amir Abdullah and you got Zach Zenner, I think they'll be fine at running back. Wide receivers all right. Tight ends all right. I definitely think the back end of the secondary is where you're going to go. So it's really where they think who the best player available is. I think they'll go. I mean, Quincy Wilson's still here. You got Cordea Tankersley, potentially, Garyon Conley could be there. But I think for my money, Sidney Jones is the best pick here for the Detroit Lions. Go number 22, the Miami Dolphins. They're going to be going Zach Cunningham, linebacker. They definitely need some linebackers to help out there. As much as I like Jelani Jenkins, they may look to lose him in free agency. So that means they're going to have Kiko Alonso, Koamisi, who's nothing special to be honest. They definitely need to improve on that defensive side of the ball. I think their secondary is not as bad. I mean, in the playoffs when they made their game, their secondary looked horrendous, but they were just so banged up. Byron Maxwell had a nice bounce back year, which is a little bit frustrating as an Eagle fan. Byron Maxwell can be a starter. You got Xavier Howard. I think they invested a high pick in him. I think they can hope that he'll develop and take the leap to be maybe the corner 2 there next season. They have Rashad Jones, who's one of the best safeties in the NFL. So I think they can maybe address safety, but there's no real value right there. I think you're going to see the best value right here is to get another outside linebacker, and that will be Zach Cunningham from Vanderbilt. Big fan of Zach Cunningham. I think he's incredibly talented and will be a day 1 starter if he goes to the Miami Dolphins. Go number 23 is the New York Giants. They need a tight end. It's pretty much consensus that's the number 1 need. So there we get David Njoku from the University of Miami, regarded as the second, or maybe some people have him as the number 1 tight end. Incredibly athletic. Probably definitely needs to work on his blocking. But in terms of a pass catcher, he instantly would be an upgrade and a starter on the New York Giants. I mean, before this, if I had to do a mock draft, I probably would have had Jake Butt there, but then he had his injury. So then you kind of reshuffle the tight end rankings. Like O.J. Howard would be gone at number 18 to the Titans. So then they get the second best tight end, who's definitely still, I think he's a slight reach in the first round, but because that's such a big need and he could be viewed as the best player available, I think Njoku to the Giants makes a whole lot of sense to get Eli Manning, another weapon out there. Now, going to number 24, the Oakland Raiders. And here I have the Raiders getting younger. In the secondary as well, another secondary pick. They're getting Quincy Wilson from Florida. He's a guy that is kind of all over the place where he is going to fall. Some people have him as a top 10, top 15 pick. Others the lower. I've seen him go out of the first round. As a Florida Gator fan, I don't think he's as good as Jalen Tabor, which is almost a hot take. But trust me, I watched him play. Tabor looks better than Quincy Wilson. That's not saying Quincy Wilson isn't a first-round talent, which I totally think he is. And I think a team like the Raiders needs to get a little bit younger in the secondary. Plus, just add another player there. I think right now you have Sean Smith, who's no spring chicken anymore. Who else do you got at corner? David Amerson. Okay, he's good. He's not bad. He's definitely a starter. And then who else? DJ Hayden's a bust. You have no one else there. So I think you add a guy like Quincy Wilson in there who can play different hybrid packages. I think he's a guy that can kind of tween between safety and corner. I think he's an excellent pick to get there and then have cover for when it's time for Sean Smith to really hang the old cleats up, Marshawn Lynch style, over the power lines. So then moving on to number 25, the Houston Texans. I have them selecting Deshaun Watson, the quarterback from Clemson. I don't think it's a great scenario for him, but I think they're going to be pressured to take a quarterback because of how shit Brock Osweiler is. And the Texans, really, they're a quarterback away from being a playoff team. So I think it's too juicy not to pass. Like, if I'm the Texans, I would take Deshaun Watson. Even though I don't think he's going to be a day one starter, they're probably going to have to force him in to start. Maybe if you can have Osweiler or Tom Savage or someone play for the, kind of go in the plan that the Eagles were going to go this year with Carson Wentz. Ideally, you don't play him, but if you have to play him, maybe wait at the half point of the season or something like that and start getting some reps. Because Deshaun Watson's the kind of guy who could have a Dak Prescott-like start. Because maybe, for all we know, he can catch on. And we'll see right in the preseason, holy shit, this guy's good. I could totally see that being the career path for Deshaun Watson in his rookie season. Just impressing the shit out of everyone in the preseason and getting that starting job outright in Houston. I think the Texans need to go quarterback and get a guy with a very, very high ceiling in Deshaun Watson here at number 25. Go number 26, the Seattle Seahawks, best offensive lineman available. You can look at Garrett Ballas, the tackle from Utah, potentially. But for me, the number one offensive line still on my board is the top guard, Dan Feeney. I just think you need to just plug and play on that offensive line. Literally no one is too good from that Seattle Seahawks offensive line that they can't be replaced with the best prospect in this year's class, and that is Dan Feeney, who I have my number one guard from Indiana. I think you need to improve that running game. You gotta rely on Thomas Rawls. You gotta make holes. He did look good in the playoffs, but I still think you go best offensive lineman available for Seattle, and for me, that will be Dan Feeney. Going to number 27, which is the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going with Takkarist McKinley from UCLA, edge rusher. I think Tom he's no spring chicken anymore. Get a guy that's very similar, maybe be more athletic than a D Ford, who had a great season last year. Continue to build on that defense. I think a low-key sleeper pick is they may be you're looking for a quarterback here. Get the next guy that can come in and compete with Alex Smith. I think that could be, your, I don't know, I would say hot take, but your surprise pick. I think Kansas City could be one of those teams that takes a quarterback out of the blue, and everyone's go, oh, look at that, that's interesting. But for me, I think they go with the best potential edge rusher. I mean, you have Charles Harris, who's still on the board, T.J. Watts, another potential option, Malik McDowell. But I think for me, they'll go with Takkarist McKinley, who's going to have an insane combine, and we'll put up some pretty godly numbers. I think McKinley and Solomon Thomas are going to have two very outstanding combines for the defensive ends. So that's why I have them going to Kansas City at number 27. Number 28, the Dallas Cowboys. It has to be corner. They're going to go best corner available on their board. They're going to probably lose a bunch of those guys in free agency. And plus, they're the reason why they didn't win in the playoff game. Their secondary absolutely dropped the ball and cost them that game, I think. So for me, I think they're going Cordrea Tankersley, the corner from Clemson. I mean, there's a couple different picks they could go here. Look like Garyon Conley or Des King. But I think for me, I think Tankersley, he'll have a nice combine. He's had a great body of work at Clemson. I mean, some people still had him as a little bit higher than Mackenzie Alexander, who was a top corner in last year's draft class. So I think this is a very acceptable pick for the Dallas Cowboys and helps them get a guy that can come in and compete for a starting corner job in the coming season. Going to number 29, which is the Green Bay Packers. Hot take, hot pick. I didn't really know who the fuck to put here. I had initially had Garyon Conley at corner, but the Packers are a team that they don't reach. They never reach for a player. I think they'll be happy. They definitely need a corner, but I think they'll be happy getting a corner in the second round where there's tremendous value for corners. They may trade up in the second round. They're not a big trading team either, but I think they're going best player available. And as much as they need a corner, they need a fucking running back. I think Eddie Lacy's going to free agency. I don't think that overall the Ty Montgomery experiment worked. So why not get a running back that you still get that edge that you got with Ty Montgomery? So for the Green Bay Packers, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey, the running back from Stanford. So like I said, the number one need is corner, but I don't think there's a corner right now that they're going to fall in love with. I think Garyon Conley is probably the best corner available, but yeah, I think McCaffrey is definitely almost like the number 2 need with a much better prospect. I think that's the way that they're going to see this board. Chris McCaffrey, perfect fit for what they want to do in Green Bay. Pass catching back that can run between the tackles. I think it's going to be underrated that McCaffrey will be able to run through the tackles here at the pro level. I think this is going to be a great pick for the Green Bay Packers. But like I said, it's going to be between running back and corner is a big time need, especially after how they exit and their defense performed in the playoffs. But again, the run game was just as bad. That run game was just as shit as the secondary was for me. Going number 30, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tough one. I think they're going to go on the defensive side of the ball, and it's either they're going to get an outside linebacker. Like if McKinley falls, I can see them getting that. But for me, right now, I'm going with best player available. He kind of slipped a little bit. Is Malik McDowell from Michigan State. I think he can play probably 3-4 defensive end for them. Go on the imposing side of Stephon Tuitt. Or maybe even take over that gig. Maybe take over that gig and play alongside Cam Hayward, actually. So I think they're going to go best defensive end possible for that 3-4 scheme, and that will be Malik McDowell. But then again, they could go best 3-4 outside linebacker and try to look for someone opposed of James Harrison. Even though James Harrison did come out and announce that he's returning next year, they could get younger there. But in terms of best overall prospect, I think they'll go McDowell just to improve that defensive line, which is definitely something that they need to do. They need to get a lot more QB pressure from the front three. But I definitely could see a guy like McKinley, potentially, maybe a TJ Watt, but I'm going with McDowell as it stands right now. So Steelers fans, let me know what you think about that. And then with the final 2 picks, like I said, the Super Bowl has yet to happen. But we will go with the fact that the Atlanta Falcons will hopefully beat the New England Patriots. So at number 31 is the New England Patriots. And originally I had Christian McCaffrey here, but then I scratched it out when I had him going to the Packers. So then I just took best player available for what they might want. So in brackets, the number 2 pick, I have 2 picks here because, like I said, I can do that, was Jared Davis from Florida. I think, Patriots are a team that likes to draft Florida Gators. I think they could use an inside linebacker to come in and play behind Mr. Donta Hightower. But the consensus pick for me will be getting John Ross, the wide receiver from Washington. Get another playmaker there. The wide receivers are old as shit. They got Chris Hogan, who had played, sparingly. He was hot and cold. They got Malcolm Mitchell, who may develop into something. Julian Edelman will be on that slot, but I think it's time to probably move on from Amendola if they need to free up some cap space. And then you still need to add some more wide receivers there for Tom Brady. I think why not they don't have a deep threat right now. Do not have a deep threat. You cannot convince me that Chris Hogan's a deep threat, even though he can catch the deep ball. He's not a burner. Malcolm Mitchell, not a burner. So get that burner. Get that element to the wide receiving core that you don't have in John Ross. A guy that's, I think, would be an absolute steal at the number 31 pick. I think he'd be absolute steal in terms of value and where you could get him. A lot of people had John Ross as a potential top 10 pick, between 10 and 20 even. So I think if you're Patriots, add that element and dimension to the wide receiver core that you don't have and haven't had. Like, when was the last burner that the Patriots had? I can't think of one. Randy Moss, for fuck's sakes. So I think that pick makes a lot of sense. And then finally, number 32, the Atlanta Falcons. I have them going T.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's brother from Wisconsin, outside linebacker. I think they're probably looking for an upgrade over Brooks Reed. And their linebacker core is very good. Deion Jones, phenomenal. But I think getting the best linebacker prospect available on that defense side of the ball, their offense is on point. They could maybe look at offensive line, maybe. But outside of that, everything else is set. So I think they look on the defense side of the ball. Maybe corner. They could go corner, but I think they will go T.J. Watt. I mean, Garyon Conley's still available. I think he could be a potential pick here at 32. But for my money, I think they will go T.J. Watt. Whew. There you go, guys. That's my first official NFL mock draft. Definitely went long as shit. I definitely could have probably made this like a 10-minute video, but then so many people were like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? So I tried to put some explanations behind all my picks, so I hope you guys did stay with me for all this, and you did enjoy it somewhat. But that does it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching the official NFL Mock Draft 1 on Beast Mode TV. The plan is to do one of these a month, so we will check with you guys again at some point in February, probably near mid to late February. And, yeah, I think the next Eagles one will be coming this weekend. I think I'll have the next Eagles one coming out Saturday, so a little less than a week from today. So that does it there. So if this is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. And until next time, it's your boy C4. Say, leave a comment in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And peace out.